All right. Welcome back. Oh, sorry about that. Welcome back. I um I am back. Shout out to everybody able to join me. I wanted to come back a lot sooner, but I've been battling what I think is a sinus infection. So if you all continue to bear with me as we get through this video. Hope you all doing well on this fine Monday. ABQ, I see you, lady, kitten, slime, Mr. Payne in the building. I'm pretty sure many of you heard about this story, and the reaction from certain countries and areas, jurisdiction, in contrast to how places like Gazabad and South Africa responded to this threat is worth noting. Okay, it's worth noting. Now, there are a lot of gruesome images with this story. The Daily Mail reported this story just a few hours ago. 7-month-old is left with brain damage after suffering horrific injuries when two pit bulls savaged him, biting his face, head, and torso after the babysitter left him with someone else to run errands. Now, those of you who are patriots, you should be happy to find a channel like this, because what I do here is I try to encourage people to follow the law. That's all. That's all. And dogs, the presence of dogs, especially when you have a bully breed or some other large vicious dog in the same home as a child, that's endangerment. You see, if we were to follow this law, there would be a lot less homes with bully breeds inside them. Be a lot fewer homes with German Shepherds and other large vicious breeds. Because this is really the most overtly dangerous type of endangerment possible, because dogs prove how dangerous they are literally on a daily basis. Literally. And rather than being removed from the shelves, they just get more and more promotion. Babysitter looking after 7-month-old Samaj left him with her daughter. When she opened their cellar door, the pit bulls escaped and went for the baby. Stop right there. Now, the baby was in his car seat. It was one of those walkers. So the dogs ran over and started to maul the baby's face and head. And this is what I'm talking about. Anything dumb enough to launch a deadly attack on a flippin' baby, there is no argument to justify their presence inside of a home. That's just the way it is. There's no possible argument to justify the presence of such a brain-dead, deadly creature. You can't read its thoughts. You don't know what might trigger this mutt. And whatever may trigger it, it's not a real trigger at all. It's usually things like standing up, sitting down, moving, reaching down to tie your shoe, and other non-threatening behaviors, these brain dead mutants will attack in response to literally almost anything. And you trying to tell me that it's acceptable to have one of these things inside of homes where there are babies? You have to be plumb out of your mind. And if the laws that we have right now does not include dogs, then nothing does. Nothing does. Now, some graphic images. I'm gonna avoid. Sorry about that. I'm gonna avoid showing them because that gets you in trouble. As you know, YouTube might disable your comment section. I don't want them to do that. I always want to encourage discussion, so I'll leave a link in the chat room, and you all can check it out. Warning: there are a lot of gruesome injuries. Okay, now we know this was unprovoked. I mean, it's insulting to even have the discussion. This investigations that they conduct is very insulting. It's nothing a 7-month-old baby could do to trigger no dog. A 7-month-old baby left with injuries, according to the grandfather. Okay, the daughter opened the cellar door, which led to the pit bulls escaping and going straight for the little boy, who was in his walker, biting his head, face, and torso. Now, this is what I want you to focus on right here. The fact that it didn't take anything to trigger these things. The only thing that it took is for the dogs to have their restraints and barriers removed. You can tell that these things naturally view babies as something to attack. How many stories have we heard like this, where a door was open and out shot a pit bull and it went straight for somebody's child somewhere? Again, refer to the video where that mutt ran down the street around 2 adults and went right after a toddler. These things are obsessed with attacking babies and toddlers. Okay? Something like this warrants the most vigilant response. This is as serious as anything could possibly get. Now, this 7-month-old baby suffered a broken nose, a fractured skull, lacerations, lost a lot of blood. They thought the baby was not going to make it. The baby's heart stopped twice for 20 to 30 minutes. And currently, the baby's not able to breathe on his own. And this was completely unprovoked. And you mean to tell me nobody's arrested? Nobody's charged in this case? You know, endangerment laws are pretty much the same anywhere you go. If they're there, how could this not qualify? Right? So, these types of attacks are very disturbing. Because like I said, these are members of society that are supposed to be the most protected. Right? Babies, women, supposed to be the most protected. But yet, in this dog culture, they're the most vulnerable. When people see a baby, first thing they want to do is bring a dog around it. When people see a dog, first thing they want to do is bring it around a baby or a toddler somewhere. So that means they are the most at risk. Because, dog lovers have this obsession with endangering them and bringing dogs around them. Crazy stuff. There are a lot of photos in this. It has a long recovery. Family shared photos. The organization notes that 16-year period, from 2005 to 20, dogs killed 568 Americans, and pit bulls contributed to 67% of those deaths. 67%. So, the way these pit bull advocates walk around with their chest out, their aggression, they're very aggressive people. It is mind-blowing when you look at how weak of an argument they have, at how vulnerable they are. Pit bulls, like I've been saying for a while, all bully breeds, they're begging to be banned. They're begging to be banned. So, horrible story. This could have been prevented. This was yet another sacrifice, carried out by these demonic cult members, aka pit nutters, pit bull lovers. Blood is on everyone's hands. You all participate to make this environment possible. Okay? So the blood is on all of your hands. Now, hey, maybe you're comfortable with that. Maybe you're comfortable with that. There have been a lot of stories that have surfaced here recently. Like I said, I've been asleep a lot. This sinus infection really feels like some type of flu or something. So I haven't had much energy. But there are a lot of attacks that I might miss. This surfaced a few hours ago. A 10-year-old attacked in Ladson. Where is that? South Carolina. Okay, authorities cited a woman after they said her dog broke free and attacked a 10-year-old boy who was walking through the neighborhood. Once again, as always, unprovoked. Y'all see now why I say these things are never provoked. They're never provoked. I mean, I'm sure you might find a case at some point in history, but where is it? Good luck finding it. Virtually all attacks unfold like this, where the victim is minding his or her own business. And that's exactly what prompts the dog to attack. A small, vulnerable victim that can't fight back. The nature of these cowardly, demonic mutants should infuriate everyone. Everyone. Okay? So yet another unprovoked attack. We're struggling to find an attack on a child that was actually provoked. So get your act together, behaviorists, veterinarians. You got content, Ilana Reisner. You got content all over the internet full of misinformation. Misinformation. You're telling people that there are certain triggers for dog attacks on children that are actually not triggers at all. And that is, oh, your mannish, devilish child harasses the dog. That's why they get attacked. Your kid is obnoxious. I showed where it was a part of this dog shelter's policy, basically. I remember I showed that that shelter. It was basically a part of their policy to refer to all kids under 13 as mannish, as unruly and misbehaving. Every single one. Never seen nothing like that before in my life. Boy, we have given these people far too much room to carry out this madness. Now, this is another story. It surfaced yesterday. And these types of goofy activities, I believe, need to be called out as well. I've called this stuff out before. And, you know, it's time to do it again. Now, this was just uploaded. There are articles on this. It was uploaded on this website a day ago. Clintonville bike ride benefits dog attack victim. Okay? Gazabad slaps a ban on these things. South Africa slaps a ban on them. The citizens go out and barbecue, literally barbecue every pit bull that they find. And then in other places, pro-dog places, they respond like this.
More than 200 cyclists signed up for a special ride to honor a woman brutally attacked by 3 dogs in Benton County. NBC4's Cynthia Hill was there as the group pedaled through the streets of Clintonville.
This morning, these Santas and other holiday characters cycled up and down High Street, spreading holiday cheer.
From the Grinch to Santa to Buddy the Elf, and everyone got little bows for their bike. It's been a great morning. Feels like Christmas now.
They started the route at Johnny Velo Bikes on North High Street. This is the second year the group has braved the 5.5 miler, but this year riders had a different motivation.
Last year's ride I threw together in 6 days, and we had about 20 riders. This year,
now, this bike ride is in honor of a dog attack victim. And, you know, one of the organizers, he's standing here with a dog. Think about that now. Look at the visuals here. Isn't that, don't you think that's a little inappropriate? This woman lost her legs.
Here we were a little bit more organized. We've got over 225 riders show up today. We've raised in upwards of $7,000 today to help Ava with her medical bills.
Okay, so they're holding this and they're going to give the donation money to the victim to help her pay for medical bills. You know, it's almost like this is very cultish. You know, this is very cultish. As if the attack itself is so accepted. Like, oh, it's just part of nature. Oh, let's have a little fundraiser. We'll help you with your medical bills. No, man. What we want is for when a cyclist, when their bike breaks down, this is what happened to this lady. Her bike broke down. We want those people to not have to worry about being mauled and losing their legs. So let's talk about laws. I want to hear about no bike riding or no goofy nonsense like that.
He's talking about Eva Simons, whose leg was partially amputated after she was brutally attacked by a pack of dogs when she got a flat tire on a cycling trip of her own in October. She says today's ride means the world to her.
This is really the first time that I'm out for fun and for joy, and to see all my friends. Just amazing event, and you know, so many people that I know, and I had a chance to see them all in one place because they came out for me.
After learning all Eva endured before surviving the vicious attack, like walking 4 miles through a field, Dina Rogers said she had to help.
Man, this lady walked 4 miles through a field before she was attacked. That's horrible. That's horrible. You know, this is somebody's mother, somebody's grandmother, somebody's sister. This is somebody's daughter. Shouldn't we care about ourselves enough to look at the cause of this, directly at the cause, and make a change? We don't have time for bike rides and little goofy parades. That doesn't bring any awareness, does not better prepare anyone in the future to avoid this fate. This could have been a child. Most likely that would have been a fatality. Where is the near miss mentality in our neighborhoods? Why does it just exist in, you know, different organizations and businesses? Oh, because there's lawsuits involved, huh?
She's just incredible, and the people that helped her were amazing, and it's just so touching. And how could you not want to jump on board and draw attention to the good of all the people?
No. The good in the people is looking at what caused this and changing it. She was attacked by a pack of pit bulls. We have had a pit bull problem for decades now. You see, they don't even want to have this discussion. This woman has been permanently mutilated. No legs. Don't you think that's a serious injury? A life-altering injury? We don't have time to play games and to ignore the conditions that made this possible. Again, what are we paying our tax dollars for? If you're taking money from me, from every paycheck, I want to know that the community I live in is safe. Stop with this daredevil mentality where everybody has to worry about being killed or mutilated or having their kids or loved ones killed and mutilated. Yeah, I don't want to pay for that. It's very easy to prevent attacks like this. Simply ban these worthless, good-for-nothing mutants. We don't need these things in our lives. Lord, we don't. We don't need these things for nothing. I was having a discussion with somebody. I always have these discussions with people where they were talking about, excuse me, how we benefit from dogs. You know, dogs help us. Dogs do things for us. And I had to remind them, like, hey, we haven't had a dog here all day. And by that time, we had been on the job for over 8 hours. And I had to point out, like, hey, we've been here all day. We haven't had a dog. And we're just fine. We don't need dogs. And there's nothing that they offer that's beneficial enough, that's valuable enough, you know, for us to accept attacks like this. or to accept how nasty they are, how much they contaminate our society. Nothing is worth that. So we need to cut this out, this silly nonsense of these worthless responses. You're gonna have a bike ride, and you better have a meeting. What are you talking about? Y'all better congregate and gather in a large group and talk about the dog problem in society. Enough of this ignoring the problem. Pink elephant in the room. That's all it is. They want to pay attention to everything else. It's never the dog's fault. Get out of here. Huh? Now, this is another story. One more thing. Now, many of you have noticed how they have ran with this story. How they've ran with this story. Excuse me. And making it all about a heroic event. I told you, it's like clockwork. You know it's going to happen each and every time. This is very dangerous stuff right here. This is dangerous stuff to put out here because it brainwashes little young boys to believe that this is what they're meant to do. Okay? You see a dog, oh, I get an opportunity to be a hero. Oh, look, a dog's attacking my sister or attacking my little brother. It's time to be a hero. Let me run and fight the dog. Stories like this can get kids mutilated. You gotta stop playing this game. There ain't nothing cute or honorable about these little boys having to protect their sister from a deadly creature. There ain't nothing heartwarming about a story like that. That's a terrifying story. You don't throw no goofy party over the fact that the boys successfully saved her. Yeah, you acknowledge and appreciate that their efforts were successful. But you need to be marinating on the cause and how to prevent it from happening again.
Their young sister from a gruesome dog attack. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Bob Clausen.
And I'm Laura Monteverdi. Both boys were injured. One remains in the hospital tonight. Riley Birdwell spoke with the siblings and the grandmother who witnessed this all. Riley, how did this happen?
Well, Laura, it all began when the three kids were playing outside of their grandmother's house on Sunday when the neighbors' dogs came and attacked them. Now, we do want to let you know that there are going to be some photos we're going to show you that may be really hard.
What'd they say? What'd they say? Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy how often they admit that these attacks were unprovoked? Isn't it? It is fascinating how often they admit it. But yet these behaviorists, they put out information all over the internet talking about how dogs always attack after being provoked, that it's always provoked, giving us lectures on child misbehavior and pointing to that as the cause of dog attacks. But yet every single story, they admit these attacks were completely unprovoked. Right? These mutts simply laid eyes on a bunch of kids, started salivating, and launched an attack. Simple as that.
To look at. 3 young siblings were at Grandma's house Sunday having a good time when all of a sudden,
The worst day of my entire life ever.
2 dogs came to attack.
Felt like a million needles were poking me.
6-year-old Declan.
Okay, I'll show this. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. Like I said, we don't have time to have these little celebrations where you want to go on and on about with this hero narrative. That's got to stop. We got serious things that need to be done, preventative measures that need to be implemented. All this lollygagging and playing dumb has got to go. Now, what in the world is this? It's another one. When did this surface? A few hours ago. What in the world? Owner cited after dog attacks and seriously injures a Ladson boy. In the world? Is this about the 10-year-old? Oh, yeah, this is a 10-year-old. Right? Same story. Now, just for the people who may not be aware, I've shown this several times. You know, my channel is very basic and simple. I'm trying to get people to follow the law. As simple as that. See, a lot of people, they think about my channel and they describe it as just a bunch of ranting, you know, anger and frustration. No, I'm trying to get people to follow the law. And there's no way you can say that dogs, especially bully breeds, don't qualify. As in, they go above and beyond qualifying. Above and beyond. Now, any number of acts can lead to a conviction. Right? Child endangerment is a serious crime. And courts have said that obviously dangerous activities, such as having a child in a car while driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, constitute as endangerment. Well, if that's the case, then other obviously dangerous activities, such as having a breed of dog that was bred to fight and kill, that gets off on fighting and killing, large vicious dogs. Yeah, when you have one of those inside of a home where there are kids, that's breaking the law. You're breaking this endangerment law. There's no way around it. You can't get out of that. You know? And this type of living condition proves to be dangerous every single day. Every time you hear about an attack I just shared with the 7-month-old, they had the exact same living conditions. And they prove to be dangerous on a consistent basis. So I said these things go above and beyond because they're always proving to be a safety hazard on a daily basis. Other dangerous activities to qualify include failing to properly secure a child while driving an automobile, exposing a child to drug transactions or manufacturing. Transactions? Really? So if a child sees, you know, a drug dealer hand a bag to another person, and that other person hands them a wad of money, you telling me that's dangerous? That is more dangerous than having a flipping pit bull in the house? That child could watch a drug transaction 1,000,000 times And I'm going to assume that the child will never be hurt as a result, ever. But you bring a million different pit bulls into a home with a child and leave them alone, you won't make it to a million. You won't. Those dogs will maul that baby. You can't tell me that dogs don't violate reckless endangerment laws, child endangerment laws. It's disappointing how much they break the laws. Or having unsecured firearms in the same environment as a child. That's endangerment. But that's safer than having a big vicious mutt in the house. It's safer. Okay? Actual or potential injury can lead to a prosecution. These laws are designed to punish behavior that might lead, listen, it said punish behavior that might lead to a child becoming harmed. But they do not require that children actually suffer an injury or physical harm. So with dog attacks, they actually suffer injury every day. The safety hazard, the threat they pose, is established and substantiated. It's proven on a daily basis. You don't need any more research. We got everything we need. Okay? This is patriot stuff. I'm saying, hey, let's follow the law. State laws categorize endangerment as placing a child in a situation that might endanger the child's life, health, welfare, morals, or emotional well-being. However, child endangerment may still be charged in cases where the actions of the caregiver did eventually result in the child being physically injured or harmed. Okay, so why do so many guardians get off? They don't even get arrested after many of these attacks. Nothing happens to them. Even though they created that environment, they brought the dogs into the home. Are we to assume that they were unaware that these mutants could attack? Are we supposed to believe that? Of course not. They're fully aware of it. And that's part of what they get off on. The danger involved. It's a sick, cultish ritual where they get this sick pleasure. Excuse me. Sick pleasure out of endangering babies, toddlers. Lord. What in the world? What in the world? Dude, I would never, ever. Even if I were a dog person, I'd be scared to death to have a dog around a pit bull. You out of your mind? What on earth is going through these people's minds? To obtain a conviction for child endangerment, a prosecutor does not have to show that a parent or caregiver intentionally meant to expose the child to a dangerous situation. Now that's for all the dog lovers who believe that dogs are harmless. You know, they bring a dog into the home and they say, well, I didn't mean for it to happen. You don't have to actually mean for it to happen. You just have to be aware that it could happen. And there's no way you can deny that. The courts apply a reasonable person standard in child endangerment cases. This means that even if the accused didn't realize the situation was dangerous, reasonable people in that situation would have understood that their actions endangered the child's well-being. The circumstances of each case will determine whether the accused knew or should have known that the child was in danger. Listen, all of these dog lovers, they know it. They all know it, and they get off on it. That's why they take those photos. They leave the child alone with the dog. They take photos, record videos, and upload them to social media. The very reason why they do that is because the dog is dangerous. The reason why they get off and like them and have so many views and share them so much is because the dog is dangerous. If it was a harmless animal, they wouldn't think nothing of it. It would not be nowhere near as popular. No, these people, you're not allowed to play dumb and pretend like you didn't know that a dog could attack. So yeah, I'm frustrated seeing people break the law over and over and over again. Yeah, that gets frustrating. Okay? And that's exactly what's going on. So that's for everyone who objects to my platform, who thinks I'm some type of lunatic. There's nothing crazy about wanting to follow the law, especially when you talk about laws that are as respectable as child endangerment laws. What are you talking about? You need to be fully on board with me. Like, what are you talking about? Dog lovers as well. You owners of these small mutts, you other dog lovers, you know full well pit bulls are extremely dangerous, and you know full well they need to be banned. Okay, let's stop playing dumb here. We got a bad habit in this culture of playing dumb, being naive, living in fantasy land. You know, anytime you got people who are so obviously lost and confused, where they look at deadly creatures that prove that they're deadly on a consistent basis as harmless, you know something's wrong. I don't care what, something's wrong with that group of people when you got something like that going on. Right? We've cracked the code. Shout out to everybody who's able to join me for this brief live stream. Shout out to We Hate Dogs, said dogs are for simps. Yeah, Michelle said, I'm so sick of dogs and dog nutters getting special treatment. Yeah. Not realize that fang meat eating creatures, and yeah, exactly. They can't claim that they're unaware of the danger. That's what infuriates me so much. Dogs, these laws apply to dog cultures so perfectly. It seems like the laws were created specifically for dog lovers, for dog owners. Nothing else. You know, it's like a perfect fit. Yet they're still promoted, and they're not viewed as a threat. That's hypocritical. Terrible stuff. You know? Okay. You won't hear a dog cry in pain. Love the confused and hurt looks on another's face when you give them that dopey, oh, this guy's gonna want to slobber all over and be slobbered on. Ugh. Man. The way that dog lovers, you know, the inconsiderate behavior, where they view dogs as something that everybody's supposed to accept. It's like, no. Your common sense should tell you that some people don't want slobber all over them. Common sense should tell you that. But no, these people, they're adjusted to a different frequency, okay, that I can't tune into. It's pretty crazy. You know, some people in the chat room talking about how crazy dog lovers seem, especially these pit nutters. It's pretty crazy how overtly psychopathic, you know, their behavior is. It's sociopath type behavior. And it's crazy to see so many of them not pick it up. You know, not pick up on their own crazy behavior. Like, you got Google. This is the information age. You can easily do research into this. And maybe they are. Maybe that's why the shelters are full of bully breeds. People, you know, if they get them and then they do the research, you know. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Excuse me. You know, these stories that pop up from time to time of some 7-month-old, some toddler, some baby getting their skull fractured, nose broken, their face is all mangled and all this kind of stuff. You know, that's not worthy of national attention. You know, they almost view it as immoral to focus on stories like that too much, because they feel like it makes dogs look bad. That's why they have these things like with that bike riding thing. Whenever they want to respond to something to do with dogs, they completely ignore any and all problems that dogs present. And instead they focus on something else. Riding a bike. Oh, let's ride a bike in honor of an attack victim and just give them the money. No, how about we sit down and have a discussion about these mutants? Right? Very cultish type of behavior. Shout out to everybody who's able to join me for this brief live stream. And hope to see you all back here on the next as we continue with this crusade.